Everything I know about day trading, I've learned from David Green, and we've taught in Wall Street Global Trading Academy. 16 hours, 21 videos, 200 hours of content. We coach and mentor all our students every Thursday night live. Then you spend a week in David's private trading room learning how to trade. That's what you need. If you want to know more and you want to really become a successful day trader, go to Wall Street Global Trading Academy. Check out David Green and I. Check out my man, Dad Roy over here. Yep. And that's all I got to say about that.
We're back at the New York Stock Exchange for another incredible interview with none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Peter.
Boom! Chartaddicts, how you doing? Einstein on Wall Street from the balcony at the New York Stock Exchange. Welcome.
We got tons of things
back
to talk
again.
Tons of things to talk about. We have a very interesting conversation. I want to talk to you about trading. I want to talk to you about global Wall Street. I want to talk to you about the history of the stock exchange.
Okay.
So if you can just give a brief intro on the stock exchange real quick, how we got to here, and then we'll pick up from there.
Cool, awesome. So we are here on the balcony of the New York Stock Exchange building, built in 1903, the greatest financial institution in the world. Ceilings all gold. We've got incredible inlay here of tobacco leaves, which brings me to the fact that what are we doing here actually on Wall Street? We're in Lower Manhattan. Wall Street is right behind us. Wall Street actually was a wall. Above the wall in this island of Manhattan was all forest. Below this, there's two rivers, Hudson River and the East River, that come into the base of Manhattan where the Staten Island where the Statue of Liberty is. Boats used to come in the 1650s from all over the world, bringing produce and commerce into New York City. Back in the 1650s, there were already 26 brokers that used to work the corner. You know what I'm talking about? Working the corner? That used to be the way Wall Street was. They used to be out here in front of what is now this building, under a tree called the Buttonwood tree. When the boats would show up, they would take wheelbarrows down to the port and bring the commerce in, the tobacco, lumber, spices, whatever it may be, bring them up to the Buttonwood tree and put buyers and sellers together and make deals. That was the precursor of what we do here on Wall Street. That went on from 1650 to 1797. In 1797, they signed an agreement called the Buttonwood Agreement, which basically designated business practice. These 26 brokers charge a certain amount. My word is our bond. A handshake is a consummation of business. Going forward, this is the way we do it. If you want to play in the pond with us, you've got to deal with these 26 brokers. That was the beginning of what went on to become the stock exchange. In 1850, they built the first building here. In 1903, they built this building, which now is 130 years old. The traditions that go on here, the opening bell, the closing bell, the trading, 3,500 public companies, 1,366 seats on the stock exchange, kind of like taxi medallions gave us the right to trade, established in 1903. That brings us to where we are in 2024. We've got 33,000 plus stocks, market making firms, traders, brokerage firms, all coming together every single morning, starting with an opening bell, pricing stocks based on supply and demand in an auction market, off to the races. We are the greatest pricing mechanism of all markets in the world. We don't do 80% of the volume that we used to do. We do 30, but we still are the ultimate pricing mechanism. Every market is based off of this. What makes us better than everyone else is we're the last human marketplace in the world. We are the only place with circuit breakers, meaning that when there's volatility, when there's a crisis event, we actually slow down and stop trading. We saw it at GameStop. We stopped trading 29 times. We've seen it during COVID where we opened and closed due to the market being down 10%. But we are the only market in the world left now with human beings at the point of entry, trading stocks with market makers, doing what we do best.
That is an incredible breakdown, and I really appreciate that.
And that's all we got to say about that.
It's incredible that the New York Stock Exchange is the only place that still has physical action taking place. But you actually mentioned something interesting. You mentioned the Robin Hood situation.
Right.
For most people watching, that's probably something close to home. Could you explain what happened there?
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, realize that up until 2020, there was what we call, in order to be involved on Wall Street and buy stocks and invest in your future, you had to be an accredited investor. What did that mean? That meant when you opened up a brokerage account at Merrill Lynch or Wells Fargo or Morgan Stanley, the old traditional brokerage firms, you had to prove that if you lost 100% of this money, it would have no effect on your standard of living for 5 years. Well, what did that do? That was very exclusive. That basically basically kept almost anybody out of trading except the super 1% of the 1% who were wealthy people. Who could really say that if they put $5,000 into a trading account and lost it all, it would have no effect on their standard of living? I know I couldn't say that. So up until that point, this place was a very exclusive place. Only the wealthy of the wealthy could really invest in the market, right? People were invested in the market in 401ks wherever they worked and stuff like that. So people did have access to markets in that way, but like we know it now, like day traders, like in people trading and investing in the market, that didn't exist. What changed in 2020 with the event of Robinhood and Webull and all these free trading apps was they suddenly gave access to the marketplace to everybody. Suddenly, everybody with an iPhone and $100 could trade the market. What an amazing thing. Now, I know a lot of the guys down here, sort of want to keep that exclusivity. But for me, somebody who's been down here for 137 friggin' years, for me, that acceptance and that inclusiveness was incredibly important because you all are the next generation of traders and investors in the world. And I think that's a super important thing. Suddenly, we had all these brokerage firms start. You could have a free trading app, and it happened. Look, it's kind of like the perfect storm in a way, because suddenly we had COVID. Everybody's locked in place. Everybody's getting a little bit of a stimulus check. Suddenly you got Webull and Robinhood, free trading apps. You have the meme phenomenon happening. You've got Wall Street bulls, bets, and friggin' Reddit, and the whole place friggin' explodes. You got GameStop going from 2 to 483 and back to 2. And suddenly everybody thinks that this is a get-rich-quick scheme. Everybody's posting pictures of them lying around on the back of a Bugatti wearing fucking pajamas, excuse my language, with stacks of $10,000. And suddenly the world thought that first the world suddenly did have access. People were trading. Fortunes were made, but I would say probably more fortunes were lost because people didn't talk about the fact that they never sold their GameStop at 480. They probably held it until it was back to 2 again. But anyway, so this was an amazing phenomenon, right? I call it the democratization of the trading community. Suddenly, 40 million, according to TD Ameritrade, 43 million new retail traders came into the marketplace on March 23rd, 2020. Wow. Amazing. What an amazing opportunity and amazing accessibility to this market. And I think it's the beginning of the rest of time. However, none of these platforms gave us any education as part of the thing. So it's like think about it. If I wanted to fly a plane, right? I wouldn't just go to Teterboro Airport, grab the keys, hand the guy a 50, grab the keys, hop on the plane, and hope it works out, right? Same thing with money. You can't suddenly, after excluding people from the marketplace and trading and investing for 100 years, suddenly give people access and not give them education, not giving them the playbook or the menu on how you trade this market. How do you buy it? How do you short it? What do you do when you get into a stock? How do you protect your downside risk? All that education was not included by any of them. Any of the platforms that gave you accessibility gave you education. And that's kind of where I stepped in with my partner David Green. We created Wall Street Global Trading Academy because we saw the amazing inclusiveness of the 40 million new traders, but we also saw the possibility that everybody could get into this market. They had access, but they didn't. Look, you know what I do? I love the analogy of if I suddenly, you were never invited to my house and I threw these crazy wild parties, and then suddenly you've been begging me for years to get in to my party. I let you in, and I don't tell you that if you drink 12 vodkas, you're going to get really sick and you're going to end up puking out on the back lawn, right? If I told you you have one vodka and hang out and you can have a really good time, that would be fine. So that lack of education in this amazing new platform with this amazing new phenomenon was the key. And so David Green and I took this opportunity to say, you know what? We have experience. We're long timers in this industry. It is our responsibility to educate the masses of people out there who are suddenly so excited to get access to this party, so excited to see the volatility and the excitement, so excited to make money, right, and get involved, whether it's crypto, equities, futures, whatever you're doing. But that that thirst by this young new retail phenomenon and generation suddenly having access is amazing, but without education, it is a potential disaster.